So Rebecca, I think I had told you about this project before. This is the Duda Energy, otherwise known as Duda Diesel, solar hot water heater. And the way this works, these tubes have got a copper rod in the center and they're coated glass. Lets the sunlight in but not back out. That heats up the copper tube. Copper tube comes up to, this is a heat exchanger. Water's flowing through here. Yeah, you like this lid. And this lid is covering up the air relief valve. Probably doesn't matter to get it wet, but in the wintertime I figure it might freeze up, so keeping this on it. And then this goes through these tubes down into the house where there's a pump that gets triggered once the temperature outside the collector is at least 20 degrees what's in the hot water heater, 20 degrees hotter. The little boxes you see here, control element for essentially a bypass if this gets too hot. Let's say the hot water heater in the tank is 140 and this thing starts getting hotter and hotter because the circulation pump is shut down, i.e. it's reached the temperature you want the hot water. This thing would just get in the thermal runaway. So what happens is inside that box is a control circuitry that dumps this heat in a circular loop into this radiator, which doesn't look like much, but it's able to vent off about 46,000 BTU. So it will drop the temperature rapidly. Oh yeah, I'm not sure if I ever showed you that bell. So I'll take you inside and let you see what that's like, what the inside looks like. So for the inside, this is the circulation pump. This is the brains behind everything. And essentially, this is showing me that S1, which is the top outside of the coil itself, is sitting at 131 degrees. S2 is at 138. That's the lower part of the hot water heater. And then the upper part of the hot water heater is S3, and it's 143. And then we mix it down with this little fancy valve you see here. That takes the hot water, if it's too hot, mixes it down to 120. So essentially, if you store your water in your tank at like 140, you get essentially more hot water because you mix it down to 120 and you get essentially like concentrated hot water, right? This is a fail-safe in case there's no sun for several days, maybe a winter storm. It's got the regular 240 volt element in the tank and breaker, of course, for that. Control the electronics, and then I measure how much we actually use power-wise in case we do have to go on traditional power. Air expansion tank for the cold water side, and then air expansion tank for the hot water side, and then you can see the total pressure. So right now we're about 0 psi. Looks like it is about 90 degrees or so in the loop. So this is the loop. Yes, it does look like a convoluted mess back here, but it is not complicated as you think it is. S3 is the top thermostat. You see the wire, thermocouple wire, and then below it down at the bottom is S2, and then of course the 240 volt power coming into the element. All in all, it's been a great system. 0 maintenance so far. Oh, this is the power supply for the loop outside in case it has to run the thermal runaway. You can look here when you see which is information. So Sunday on June the 10th, collector alarm simply means that the system in here is shut down because it had reached the preset temperature of 145 degrees, which is what I wanted it to be, no more than that. And so outside the collector got up to 200 degrees. We don't want to get close to 212 boiling. So the circuitry went into the closed loop and dumped the heat out the exchanger outside, and it worked absolutely flawless. This is just letting me know that that event happened. So the system, I guess I've got about probably around $1,500 in it. Payback, I think, will be about 2 years, maybe 2.5 worst case. This EPDM foam was stupidly expensive, almost $20 for 8 feet. So that added to the cost a fair amount. Labor was free because I did it. But there you go. Not a bad deal.